Tato movie guy. Ok.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Maybe welcome for the very first time, and we are here with the second episode of So You Want to Get Into. This is a series that I am dedicating to you, my viewers, and potentially anybody else that wants to get into various world cinema directors. I get a lot of questions now and then asking what are the best entry points for these directors and what they're really about. And as you can previously know, in my Hong Sang-soo video, I give you a nice taste of what the director is about, and this is basically the whole catharsis of every video that we'll be making in each episode. So today we will be discussing the French auteur Claire Denis. She has been one of the staples of my cinematic experiences over the last almost decade, I would say, and she has really immersed me into cinema that I never really anticipated, and I think personally she is a true auteur, and to the extent I think she is one of the finest directors ever to have graced this earth. And today we will be discussing my initial experiences with her, we'll discuss the style and the subtext of her work, and then I will be giving you 3 suggestions of entry points into her filmography. And the choices will be the magnum opus or the masterpiece that she has created, according to everyone. Then my personal favourite film of hers. And then the third choice will be the all-rounder, as I'm calling it now. The all-rounder will be everything about the director's oeuvre in one film. Everything that makes the director so special. And that is kind of the best way I can go with this. I've been asked to give suggestions of where to watch these films, so I will implement that into the conversation also. So let's get cracking. My initial experiences with Claire Denis was with the considered masterpiece Beau. I got a DVD of it from HMV because at this point there was no restoration, there was nothing. It was just a bare bones DVD from Coors on Artificial Eye that was going for a pretty penny every now and again. And I remember putting it on, not necessarily knowing what I was going into. At this point in my film studies, I guess, my self-taught film studies, I had basically delved very deep into the new wave. This was going into the work of Godard, going into the works of Truffaut, Jacques Tati. This was before I even got into Romero or anything like that. I was going basic, very basic new wave. And I didn't really know much more about French cinema beyond this point until I stuck on Beau. And I will be bluntly honest with you, the first time I watched Beau, I was not necessarily sure why it's considered a masterpiece. And going through it, I just thought to myself, well, this is a film that discusses masculinity and kind of the way that we shed our emotions away from everyone. And this was the first implementation I got from the film. And as I carried on through her work, I then watched White Material, I watched 35 Shots of Rum, I got to see Trouble Every Day. It was a continuous experience. Let the Sunshine In was another one I got to see. And beyond 1999, you can see this kind of reformity that Claire Denis has in her work. And for me, as I got a bit more into it, I really understood a lot more of what Denis was doing. But the thing I loved about my experience with Claire Denis is she introduced me to other amazing French directors, such as Léos Carax, Olivier Assayas, Bruno Dumont, Francois Ozon. She really got me into the new world of French film and what French film means to me now, because as you know on this channel, I love French cinema. It's something that I truly aspire, and I'm always in awe of the creation of these fantastic directors. But I do personally believe that Claire Denis has been at the helm of this kind of resurrective sense of French film for many, many years. And for me, I owe so much of my palette and my love for French cinema because of Denis. And this is one of the main reasons I'm making this video, is because of this. But those initial reactions were never going to be profound, and it's like, wow. I think as time has gone by, and especially since the Criterion of Beau Travail has come out, I feel like there is a bit more of a boom within her work, and people see the work for what it is. But at the same time, there is a sense of bandwagoning, I think, within Beau Travail. I don't necessarily think that you will grasp the whole fundamentals of it until a second, a third, a fourth watch. But it was the experience that really opened up my perspectives, and I owe her so much because of this. Now then, to the style and subtext. There is a massive part of Denis' life that is put into these films, and this is her background of being raised in French colonized Africa. And she was raised in places like Cameroon, Senegal. In her first film, Chocolat, we see it in US Go Home, we see it in Nanette and Bonnie, we see it in Beau Travail, we see it in White Material. There is a hybrid of cultures that are very well represented by Denis. And in a weird way, in the 80s and the 90s, this was not conformist. This is something that's actually quite groundbreaking when you think about it, because she is bringing this kind of semi-autobiographical elements to her work. And this kind of idea of cultures clashing or coming together is something that I truly find very profounding within her whole filmography. I don't think that we get that much at the back end of the career. I think when you think of Bastards and Let the Sunshine In, High Life, maybe, but it's something that's kind of disappeared a little bit, but it's been a major staple in her work. And I think when we look at every film she's made, and it's one of the most discussed parts of her kind of oeuvre, is the body. The human body is everything in a Claire Denis film. This is the canvas that everything is staged upon, and we see very intricate moments of feet, hands, face, breasts, butts. This is basically the key that opens the soul of Claire Denis' work, because the use of body language is so vital, I think, in all of her films to understand really more about her characters and the actors that she uses. We have people like Alex de Casse, who's made like 11 films with her, Denis Lavon, we see Isabelle Huppert, Vincent Lindon. There is so many actors that build a very profound performance through their body language, and I love the way that Agnes Goddard, who is Denis' long-term cinematographer, the way that she cascades and canvases every human. Everybody has a story, I think, and this kind of intimate, detailed kind of shots that we see in all of her films is something that continuously builds and builds. And for me, this is what I truly admire, this stagnated camera that does barely move, but there is such profound humanity in these shots. I love this kind of core elements that we continuously see, and it's always seen in any of her films. That I don't personally feel like she's made a bad film, but in every film that she has made, it has a distinct Claire Denis tone, and it clearly has a statement to make. Maybe the statement isn't always clear at the beginning, but as you go on and as each film kind of unravels, you think to yourself, wow, she is something that cinema has always needed, but she does not never get the attention that she deserves. And this is the same with the landscape. The landscape and the backgrounds of these films are gorgeous. They're always beautifully coloured. They always set the tone, the precedent of what is potentially going to happen. Maybe like a mood setter, but without the combination of the landscape and the actual body, it doesn't always execute itself. And Denis makes sure that it always happens. The other thing about Denis' style and subtext is that she has gone across multiple genres. Not every director goes into different genres, but what makes Denis stand out within these genres is that they are still a Claire Denis film. You look at her most recent film, High Life, which was a sci-fi film. Yes, it's sci-fi by name, but my God, it's a Denis film. You look at Trouble Every Day, it's a horror film. It is a Claire Denis film. This is what I love about a director like Denis, is that she doesn't change for shit. She continues to make the films she wants in the genres that she wants to work in. And that is what is so profound. And this goes into kind of the idea of that she has worked with some of the best directors in the world. She actually was a assistant director, I believe, for Wim Wenders for Paris, Texas, Wings of Desire. She also worked with Jim Jarmusch for Down by Law. She worked with Jacques Rivette, which for me is astounding. She has worked with some of the finest directors, and she has taken time to learn her craft before she actually made her own films. And as she continued to work on her filmography, she continued to make these films. And that is something that I truly, truly love. The only other thing that you need to know about her process is that she shoots quite fast because she knows what she wants, but the editing process is what takes time. She has a new film coming out this year, potentially in 2021, called Fire, with Juliette Binoche, actually. But is it going to come out in 2021? I don't know, because her process is very slow. It's very tedious at times, but she is that kind of sense of perfectionist. And I think being an apprentice to some of these fine directors that she has been, it has kind of given this higher level of expectation from her. And this is what makes Denis a standout director. Now, the first recommendation for you is Claire Denis' Beau. Travail. This is the considered magnum opus masterpiece that she has created. And within this film, and by the way, this restoration that Jean's made is astounding, and it is a great compliment to Denis' work. But this is a film based with the French Foreign Legion, and I'm not really going to delve into the story because I don't see the point in this video to tell you anything really that's going on, because I'm just giving you my kind of consensus with it. For me, Beau Travail is the film that really showed to me personally that I should not really shy away from expressing myself. And I shouldn't really be repressing anything that has happened to my life in a negative way. And this is intimately shot and is very candid. It has levels of homoeroticism. This kind of cinema should not exist in 1999. It's a lot more of the modern era. And I think Denis was well ahead of her time when it comes to Beau Travail. And going through this whole process, it kind of shows you as well the amazing stature of Denis Lavon, because Denis Lavon steals this film by a country mile. And when we get to the ending of this film, it has the most explosive sense of feeling and odd relief with the dance sequence that just breaks me. And it's one of the most memorable endings to a film ever. And this is what you need to remember about Denis as well. She does use a lot of interesting music in her films. And Rhythm of the Night is that song that sticks in your head forever. And I never think of that song in any other way now, except that this is the ending of Beau Travail. This is widely available on Criterion. It is all across the globe these days. You can watch it on the Criterion channel even. And if you are struggling to know how to get onto Criterion channel, if you live outside the US and Canada, just drop me a message and it will tell you how you can do it through VPN. This is my personal favorite film of Claire Denis, and this is Trouble Every Day. This is the horror film that she made starring Beatrice Dalle. Right, this is a vampire film beyond revelations, and I think it kind of cascades this very stubborn narrative that's eerie, it's very intimate, and it's absolutely disgusting at times. It is one of these films that I put on and I was unnerved by. It is an unhinged experience that shows this darker side that Denis has had within her subtext, but within Trouble Every Day, we see the darker side being visualized a lot more. And this film is a hybrid of American French cinema, and it kind of builds that kind of classic kind of sense of foreigners coming into another country and experiencing different things. And this is beyond my expectations. It is one of the horror films that I love watching every year. The only issue with Trouble Every Day is that it doesn't have a Blu-ray release. This is actually a DVD that I made into a Blu-ray. There is a Tartan DVD. Tartan is a UK company that doesn't exist anymore. These go for about £20-30 a pop. There is a couple of Region A versions of it, but is widely available on movie streaming platforms most of the time. So if you've not seen Trouble Every Day, make sure you don't eat your dinner while you watch it, and watch it in the dark. It is it's a fantastic experience, and it just shows this other side to Denis' visual palette and the execution that she has as a director. Next up is the all-rounder pick. This is 2009's White Material starring Isabelle Huppert. This was a film that I feel like is a very well-rounded Claire Denis film, and it is one of the most accessible of her films within streaming platforms, Blu-rays, DVDs, and also within her subtext and style. This shows everything about Denis' life in Africa. It shows a different side to her dramatic films, I think, and building into a world that is ever-changing, and kind of gives you a perspective of how uprisings happen and the sense of change within nations. And I feel like this is one of Isabelle Huppert's best performances. It, like I said, it encompasses everything that Denis does visually, and I find it a very stimulating watch, and a film that some people have seen but don't truly appreciate. But I do feel like this is one of those films that, if you want to understand Claire Denis, White Material is that film for you to get into, and hopefully click you into her dynamic filmography. I hope you found that helpful and informative. There are so many Claire Denis films I could have talked about, but these were the ones I really wanted to shed light on, because I feel like these will help you go into her body of work a lot easier and with greater ease. But think about it also, on Criterion Channel right now, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7 of her films on Criterion Channel right now. And those are Chocolat, No Fear, No Die, Nanette and Bonnie, Beau, Travail, Towards Mathilde, 35 Shots of Rum, and White Material. That is a massive body of work that you can delve into. But there are so many choices, and I hope you make the right choice in your initial journey into her world. Right then, the next video in this series will be Tsai Ming Lang, and that will be coming out in March. As I said, this is a monthly series, and there will be a different director each month, of course. But one month it will be a Western director, and then the month after it will be an Eastern director. So we've had Hong Sang-soo, Claire Denis, and next up we will have Tsai Ming Lang. But if you have any suggestions of any of the directors that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching this. Like, share, subscribe, do as you please, and keep supporting the channel if you can. And I will see you in the next video. So as we normally say on this channel, danke, obrigado, merci beaucoup, arigato, dankeschön, bitteschön, all the shins, and obviously, never change. Bye.